All right, good morning, karibu sana. This is a morning cafe, the only way to kickstart your day. My name is Fred Indimuli. Not to worry, today I'm flying solo, but Shiksha will be joining us later on for one of our conversations. Big news today, of course, 24 hours since almost 24 hours actually, since the impeachment motion was officially tabled before the National Assembly. That's the biggest discussion across the dailies today. We'll be looking at that. But yes, on State of the Nation, we'll be having this two gentlemen and one lady, Ishmael Nyaribo, advocate of the High Court, and MPs Beatrice Elachi, Dagoretti North, and Basil Robert Ngui of Yatta constituency, who coincidentally actually signed, appended their signatures in support of this motion. She is of ODM party, he is a member of the Wiper party. They'll be here to tell us more about this. Later on the show, matters mental health in the workplaces, big discussion, and we're going to have a big panel today. Shiksha Arora will be here to drive this conversation, so do stand by for that. On the dailies, a quick look at the main headlines this morning. On the Star, graft claims top list in Gachagua removal motion. A very long headline here on the Star. Smart people read the Star. They've actually outlined all the 11 charges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 here, but other people say they're 11. Impeachment grounds, and I will be looking at this in depth in a short while. This was tabled by an MP from the Maendeleo Chap party. On the People Daily, DP's dirty linen. So they say Ruto and Raila MPs gang up to sign impeachment motion against Gachagua, depicting him as an incorrigible tribal bigot, money launderer, threat to judges, and unfit for public office. Wow. This paper has also given us this designer's plan of what Adani plans to turn JKIA into, and probably this is very good PR. You've been all opposed to Adani, and then they say, but look at what we are planning to do. This is on the front page of the People Daily this morning. On the Daily Nation, same story, beginning of the end, Gachagua's impeachment, and we have the image there of the president with his famous Mambo ni Matatu sign, and Gachagua there with a fist ready to fight back, but will he be able? Beginning of the end is a big headline on the Daily Nation this morning. On his way out, the Standard asks on the front page, they say the numbers are overwhelming. The Standard, what they've done, they've just looked at the numbers and the kind of support for this motion inside the National Assembly so far for the motion that only needed about 117 signatures for it to be tabled in the National Assembly. It got a whopping 291. This is way more than even the required 233, two-thirds majority to vote for this impeachment. So yes, they asked the question. It's obvious when you look at the numbers, it may be a done deal. That's a Standard this morning. Alivyojitemea sumu ndo habari kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo. Pia wamepanga mashtaka 11 ambayo naibu wa rais alisomewa katika bunge la taifa. Hulka ya kufananisha serikali na hisa za kampuni na kujisajili ama kujisawiri kama kiongozi wa kieneo kati ya mambo yaliyomponza. Oh yes, that shareholding bit na usiguse mlima ilikuja kumbite. Away from matters, Gachagua's impeachment, Business Daily goes with banks offered bond swap as KQ misses 19 billion shillings loan deadline. Remember, a few months back, Kenya Airways posted for the very first time about 500,000 shillings in profit. This is because they had simply shifted their debts or losses to Treasury. Now it appears the same banks that were owed are being offered bond swap because the deadline for the 19 billion shilling loans deadline has been missed. That's as far as Business Daily is concerned. We cross the border and take a look at the regional dailies. This is in Uganda, the Daily Monitor. How investor lost 5 billion shillings in gold scam. This is Ugandan money either way. But not all that glitters. This is a very familiar story. We've heard a lot of this in Kenya as well. A foreign national is in tears after he was allegedly fleeced of billions of shillings by a cartel operating in the shadowy boardrooms in Kampala, which used the name of a member of the first family in the scheme. Oh, the script is always the same. The investor has now been threatened with unspecified consequences should he set foot in Uganda to follow up on this, the claims. So you see what has happened? They fleece you, and because you're a foreigner, they tell you, ukijaribu kukanyaga hapa Uganda kufuatilia hii maneno, utaona ile kitu watu hawajaiona. So yes, 5.5 billion shillings Ugandan money. That's a heist there. And they link this to DRC, South Sudan. And I tell you, this gold scams even in Kenya read the same script. I would not be shocked if this cartel in Uganda does not include a Kenyan. Some very famous Kenyans as well, for that matter. Over in Tanzania, gazeti la Mwananchi, habari ile kuu pale ni maswali na mijadala iliyoibuka baada ya kuhukumu ya kifungo cha maisha jela kwa walioshtakiwa kwa kumbaka, kumlawiti binti. Waziri Gwajima ajitosa kuwajibu wasomaji, wataka hatua zaidi. Afande, hatua gani zinafuata? Yes, the four gentlemen, let me not call them gentlemen, the four convicts convicted of gang rape and sodomy against a girl in Dar es Salaam were yesterday sentenced to life in prison. But people are wondering, so what next? We want to see them in jail. Ndio habari kuu pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Mwananchi. Habari zingine pale, Marburg, Mpox, tahadhari zaidi mikoa minne. Kenya tuzungumzi haya, lakini kuna hatari na tahadhari ya madhara ya Mpox. Kwingineko, gesi kwenye magari inavyotesa madereva Dar. Masuala ya gesi ya gari, tuktuk pale nyingi hazina mafuta, lakini wanashughulikia gesi kwingineko. And on the Citizen, Chinese Center to boost Tanzanian trade amid competition concerns. The East Africa Commercial and Logistics Center is poised to connect Tanzanian markets directly with manufacturers, aiming to enhance their competitiveness in the market. Matters international trade, making it to the front page of the Citizen. Elsewhere, 29.4 trillion shillings target in sight as TRA kicks off with impressive Q1. And elsewhere, Tanzania sees a 142% surge in investment, attracting 3.9 billion shillings in Q3 of 2024. This is the equivalent of the Kenyan Business Daily. Matters business and investments on the Citizen. So we'll be back to take a look at the local dailies in depth. And of course, the big story is none other than the impeachment of the Deputy President, which is already before the House. We'll be looking at what next, and I'll be having in studio two members of Parliament who appended their signatures in support of this impeachment motion. Let's now take a look at the weather situation this morning across the major cities and towns in Kenya. We start off with Narok. It's been a while we've not checked the weather in Narok. It's a bit chilly this morning, 14 degrees centigrade, Celsius, but promises to be a very sunny day with intervals of cloud cover. Highs of 25 degrees today, later on in the evening or in late afternoon, and that is the biggest weather. In terms of precipitation, we don't expect a lot of rain today, probably towards the end or the beginning of next week, because it promises to have thunderstorms in Narok. But as far as today is concerned and for the rest of the weeks, sunny weather and a bit of cloud cover. Let's move on to Nyandarua and Way. 9 degrees Celsius this morning. It feels like 8. You can imagine that. Even in Nairobi, we've never felt something like this. It is very cold this morning. It will only get as high as 17 degrees Celsius today. Yes. So, ukienda huko ni kama unaenda snow. This one, hata inaweza anza. But you know, in Nyandarua, they always have even, what do you call them? Hailstones. And even some snowing. So, yes, chances of rain and thunderstorms beginning as early as midday, and for the rest of the afternoon, yes, there'll be a lot of rain. So yes, very high chances of rain, 90%, 60% in the afternoon. So do expect a lot of rain there. As high as 7.1 millimeters. So yes, that is extreme weather in Nyandarua today. Let's cross over and take a look at Malindi. From Nyandarua to Malindi, it's 25 degrees Celsius. Nyandarua will not come anywhere close to this kind of feeling today. The highest they're going to have is 17. But in Malindi, 6 a.m., they're 25. It promises to get as high as 29 degrees Celsius later on. Sunny intervals throughout the day, a bit of cloud cover, but nothing much. No chance of rain at all. Anyway, about 1.3 millimeters of rain, if at all. You may not even feel it. With this kind of weather, mvua haiwezi fika hapa chini, dissolve inarudi kwa mawingu. Okay, hiyo ni weather I mean mesema. Me, I'm not an expert. I'm just going through this. So that's the kind of holiday weather in Malindi in Kilifi County today. Finally, let's come back to the city and take a look at the weather. 16 degrees Celsius. So what you're feeling right now is what Nyandarua will feel at the warmest today. A bit of cloud cover for most of the morning up until mid-morning when sun will come out, and we'll enjoy the sun for the rest of the day. Chances of precipitation, this is rain, 0.3 millimeters. So no chance of rain. Leo, it's dry weather. Kama mnangojea mvua kutakuwa na manyunyu kesho, lakini for today in Nairobi, highs of 24 degrees Celsius. So that is as far as the weather is concerned. We can take a look briefly, and we can come back later at 6:30 to take a look at the traffic situation. As of now, there's nothing much. You take a look at areas like the Pangani interchange. It's building slowly, but it's only yellow. It's yet to pick up, so not many people on the road from Thika Road or Kiambu Road heading to town at this hour. That is expected to change. By 6:30, we'll be back to take a look at this. Jogoo Road is already busy around Makadara and Botela areas. You can see this stretch of red heading towards Likoni roundabout. After that, it gets easier into town, nothing much to report about. This area around Haile Selassie, it's been a while we've not checked the traffic situation around Haile Selassie Avenue getting into town. Today, it looks like nothing much to report from that area as well. As at this time, we'll be taking a look at that later at 6:30, 6:30. Mombasa Road 2 looking good towards town. The southern bypass is clear all the way. Langata Road, nothing to report. Mbagathi Way looking fine. Areas around the Nyayo Stadium roundabout 2 looking good, as well as this new road that connects Langata through Kibera slums into Ngong Road. It's looking clear as well. Ngong Road, typical traffic around Prestige Plaza because of the lights there and the crossroads. Otherwise, nothing new to report there. But I'm sure by 6:30, a lot of this will have changed. This one is yet to great. This is Wayaki Way into town. It doesn't look bad at all. A bit of slow traffic around Nairobi School because of the bumps, but after that, it's smooth all the way into town. So yes, that's a traffic situation this morning in Nairobi. Nothing to worry about as at this time, and no incidences reported, but later on in the day, I'm so sure in about 15 minutes or so, we'll be back, and I can tell you for sure Pangani interchange will be a dark red. For now, let's come back and take a look at the dailies. Smart people read the Star is the first paper I've grabbed this morning. Graph claims top list in Gachagua removal motion, and the impeachment grounds include inflammatory and insightful utterances, undermining national unity, contradicting president on critical matters, public attacks on judge, gross violation of the Constitution, abusive and insulting words, amassing questionable 5.2 billion shillings wealth, insubordination, undermining the president, bullying KEMSA officials, and failing integrity tests. There's about 11 charges for this impeachment. Mutusa claims the DP used 22 companies to allegedly launder money. We? Anasema usiguze milima. Bye. On the top strip of this paper, this Star, they've taken a deeper look at this man, Mutusa, the lawmaker behind the petition to kick out the deputy president. He is a member of the Maendeleo Chapchap party, whose party leader is none other than the CS for Labour, Dr. Alfred Mutua. He's a first-time MP, And so you can read more about this member of parliament whose motion is now making headlines across all dailies. On the very bottom strip of this paper, they talk about the SHA's rocky start as hundreds of patients miss life-saving dialysis. And probably this is the one story we should be talking about more, but because of the impeachment motion, all the dailies have actually dedicated acres and acres of space on their front pages to that impeachment. So SHA and SHIF, no one is talking about it much. Another highlight, woman dismissed as concubine wins right to bury her husband. That is as far as traditional marriage is concerned. And an opinion there by the senator from Narok, Ledamo Lekina, saying era of tribal chieftains must end in Kenya. All right, that's as far as the Star is concerned. Let's take a look at the next paper, and this is the People Daily. So the People Daily goes with the same story. Almost slightly more than half of this page is dedicated to the impeachment of the deputy president. So they say DP's dirty linen. Matters integrity, Ruto and Raila MPs. Yes, because all ODM MPs signed in support of this motion. They gang up to sign impeachment motion against Gachagua, depicting him as an incorrigible tribal bigot. Wow. Money launderer, threat to judges, and unfit for public office. You know, such grounds, if you're successfully impeached on these grounds, utajitetea ukiwa upande gani? And they have some of those MPs from both the Kenya Kwanza and ODM who supported this motion. The two leaders of the parliament, that's the majority and minority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah and Junet Mohammed. Other notable names here include Otiende Amolo, Oscar Sudi, Far Maalim, Owen Baya, Tim Wanyonyi, the man himself, Mwengi Mutuse, who filed the motion, George Warugara, Alice Ng'ang'a, Ruth Odinga, the sister to former ODM leader Raila Odinga. On the front page there, quite a very interesting scene in Parliament yesterday as they all, in unison, signed to support the motion. Yes, away from this, yesterday, Adani Group, the one that is involved in this controversial deal of leasing the JKIA for the next 30 years, gave Kenyans a glimpse of what they intend to turn JKIA into. And that's a picture there on the front page of the People Daily. And I think this is a big PR move for them, because all the opposition, and they're telling you, just munajua ni nini munakata. Si wache tu tuonyeshe. This is exactly how we want to turn your airport into. We'll make it look like a butterfly in honor of the Kenyan butterflies, the famous Kenyan butterflies. Alafu saa mnauliza, bado mnakataa? So what Kenya will lose in a Adani deal, pages 6 and 8. So the plan that they have is there, and they say, mukikatai maneno, this is what you're losing. Can you imagine JKIA looking like this? But then again, questions still linger on that deal. Pain, confusion, rollout of SHA, it has been relegated to the very top strip pale juu imefichwa, and I'll this is one of the main conversations people should be having. It's only the second day of after the rollout of this SHA. Yesterday there were a lot of complaints online about people missing out the dialysis treatment because of lack of clarity on who will pay what. Does the SHIF still cover what was covered under NHIF? And so many people were complaining that their kin and their patients were not receiving dialysis as they should. But a lot of the talk today, granted, it's less than 24 hours after the tabling, and we wait to see what will happen next, is the DP's impeachment. It is still the biggest story on the front page of the Daily Nation. You can see the issues about patients stranded in chaotic SHIF rollout has been given some very small space at the bottom of the Daily Nation. You'll struggle to find it. So they say 2.75% percentage of Kenya's earnings that will go towards SHIF from this month. But the problems they talk about, they say chaos, confusion, tears, and hopelessness engulfed patients in hospitals, which disabled the National Hospital Insurance Fund before systems to support the new Social Health Insurance Fund, or SHIF, were installed. So the first day of transition to Social Health Authority and SHIF turned out to be a total disaster for both patients and hospital administrators around the country. It is the main story on the back page of this Daily Nation. So that's the biggest discussion. as in something that affects all Kenyans, but the main focus is still on Gachagua's impeachment. It is what occupies most of the front page of the Daily Nation. So the headline they chose to go with is beginning of the end. And they have images there of the president and his deputy who have now fallen out, we could say, irretrievably. And the picture there of the president with his famous, or is it infamous, Mambo ni Matatu signage. And the deputy president with a clenched fist on the other side. These two gentlemen were very close friends. Walikuwa wanaitwa wandani wa karibu. Sasa mmoja anaambia mambo ni matatu my friend. Mwingine anasema bora usiguse mlima. After months of shadow boxing and the tabling of an impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the President William Ruto's loud silence, the president is yet to speak on this thing. It marks the breaking point of a political union that has been tested to the limits over the past 2 years. Will the DP survive the oncoming onslaught? What are his options? And the Daily Nation has covered this, listen, on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. 8 pages dedicated to the impeachment of the deputy president. Meanwhile, patients stranded in chaotic shift rollout, not many people are talking about it, but it's there on the front page. What they've also done is listed all the 291 MPs who signed, appended their signatures in support of this motion. So part of those pages is just a list of names and MPs. Check out if you're a member of parliament. It's always good to know what the member of parliament that represents you stands for. Other quick highlights on the top strip of this paper. Shocker for 46,000 intern teachers as TSC 6 applicants for their jobs. Way. And have you cleared your Hustler Fund loan? State in plan to raid M-Pesa and airtime. Kama ulichukua pesa ya Hustler Fund na ukasema silipi, well, utaona tu ile pesa kidogo uko nayo ikipotea kwa M-Pesa. That's the plan. It's there on the page 24 of this paper. Si ati mimi nimesema, iko kwa gazeti. Soma. Page 24 of the Daily Nation. On the Standard, they go with a question on his way out. Well, the numbers in Parliament are definitely overwhelming. This is a Standard newspaper. They say Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment nightmare sprang to life yesterday after 291 MPs signed up to a historic motion to send him home on 10 grounds. Others have listed them as 11 grounds, which Kibwezi MP Mwengi Mutusa says will shock Kenyans, even as lawmakers demand more security for Ruto and members. And they've done a diagram there showing how the numbers in support and those who are not necessarily supporting the motion play out in the National Assembly. Out of the 349 members, okay, right now they're about 345 because of the 4 seats which are not occupied currently. 291, which is way beyond even the 2/3 majority requirement to actually vote and pass the motion successfully. So ni kama it's good as done. Ndo wanauliza pale on his way out, ni swali tu. Maswali ya walimu interns apply afresh for 46,000 teaching jobs. And in as far as that health issue is concerned, they tell you to register or else. Pale chini. Patients' pain as SHIF is rolled out. So yes, this story, all the dailies found some small space on the front pages to put it there, but it's not the big discussion. Everyone is talking about Gachagua and his impeachment. Senator now files a censure motion against Ruto. It's also there. This was signed by one senator from Ukambani, a Wiper Party senator. And many people wondering, so what's the consequence of a censure motion? How rising tides threaten coast communities. Matters County and ABA great Dikembe Mutombo's rich legacy. For those who are watching NBA back in the day, I know if Nyaringita was here, I'm sure you would never have heard of Dikembe Mutombo. He was an NBA great who passed on at the weekend. Kwenye gazeti la Taifa Leo, alivyojitemea sumu, ndio habari kuu pale. Wanasema hulka ya kufananisha serikali na hisa za kampuni, ile masuala ya shareholding, na kujisawiri kama kiongozi wa eneo wa kieneo peke yake, kati ya mambo yaliyomponza. Na mashtaka yale 11 yako pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele. Nikianza kusoma hapa tutakaa mpaka jioni, lakini mengi tu. miongoni mwao kuhusika na uhalifu wa kiuchumi, kubagua baadhi ya jamii na maeneo kwa kudai serikali ni ya wenye hisa, kupuuza kiapo cha afisi, kutumia vibaya afisi na mamlaka yake, na vingine mengi pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili la Taifa Leo. Masuala ya SHIF yako pale juu kwenye gazeti hili. Pia imepatikana nafasi kidogo kwa leo. Tutazungumzia naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua. Masuala ya SHIF, there's that recognition that it's a big story and that we should be talking about it, but there's only space pale juu. SHIF yazinduliwa rasmi baada ya koti kukataa kuizimia mamia wateseka. Utekelezaji wa hazina ya bima ya afya ya jamii SHIF utaendelea kama ilivyopangwa baada ya mahakama kuu kukataa ombi la wanaharakati kulisitisha. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa 3 wa gazeti hili, lakini wengi wanasema kwamba mambo si sawa. Je, wewe umepata shida pale? Vidokezo zaidi, seneta naye ataka Ruto akemewe, ni Daniel Maanzo, hiyo censure motion. Kwingine vijana 900 wasafisha mto Ngong, na Trump, masuala ya uchaguzi wa Marekani, Trump amdhalilisha Harris, aanza matusi. Gazeti la Business Daily, banks offered bond swap as KQ misses 19 billion shilling loans deadline. Let's take a look at it in depth slightly. We see what is happening. Airline bets on debt swap to attract strategic investor, and cash crunch forces Treasury to issue 6.5-year bond. So top commercial banks will convert 19.3 billion shillings worth of loans advanced to Kenya Airways into Treasury bonds after the deadline for settling the debt lapsed. Yes, so the Kenya Airways had, or rather Treasury had taken over some of the loans that KQ owed, but now they're not able to pay, so they'll convert them to Treasury bonds. Banks will benefit either way. I think it's a win-win situation. The 10 banks, including Equity, KCB, and Cooperative Bank, own 38.1% of the airline, and they have been offered a 6.5-year bond for an undisclosed interest rate. This is according to a Treasury document seen by this paper. Hustler loan targets, state targets defaulters, M-Pesa and airtime. And it's not just your mobile money, they'll even take your airtime. So individuals who have defaulted on Hustler loans will soon have the unpaid debt deducted from their M-Pesa accounts and airtime in the struggle to recover more than 7 billion shillings from the 13 million defaulters. Hapa mmepatikana. Hapa mmepatikana. Ukiweka airtime inamezwa. Ukiweka M-Pesa kidogo inaenda. Mulidhani mutahepa na pesa ya serikali. Let's take a look at the cartoons before we take a further look at the traffic situation. This is a cartoon on the Standard. Today we only have 2. These are Standard. So it has an image there of a very huge, humongous snake, which is the Kenya Kwanza scandals. And it is in its grip it has the common mwananchi, Mama Mboga. There's a person here who could be helping. These are members of the National Assembly, MPs. They've been branded MPigs. The cartoonist, sio mimi. I know I'll have some members of parliament here and they won't like this, but sio mimi nimesema, ni huyu cartoonist was Standard. He has a very huge axe and he can actually handle or at least attack this snake. But instead of this, he's walking away. He has other pressing matters to attend to, like of course the impeachment of the deputy president. So, an indication there that the National Assembly could have completely lost it in as far as their priority concerns. Kenya Kwanza scandals, no one is looking at them, but Gachagua na Mlima ndio wanashughulikia. It's the same story on the front page, on the cartoon on the Daily Nation. They still talk about what's happening to the deputy president, and the image there, or the imagery of the what do you call it, the axe still there. So Parliament has an axe and it's willing and ready to use it to cut down the seats or the stilts holding the seat of the deputy president, who has stretched his hands and is holding the mountain with that now famous crown ya Mlima. So maswala ya shoka, bunge kwenye katuni ya Standard wanasema wako na shoka lakini hawaitumii. Huku ingine kwa Daily Nation wanasema wako na shoka na wanaitumia kukata kiti cha naibu wa rais. Shoka, lakini wanaitumia vipi? So those are the cartoons, and we'll be discussing some of these things with my panelists later on. Let's take a look at the traffic situation. We'll see if it has changed over the past 20 minutes or so. And yes, take a look at the usual trouble spots. Yes, and you can see it has definitely changed. When we looked at this traffic in a few minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, it was all green around the Pangani interchange. Look at it now. It is a strong dark red, and it stretches all the way back along Thika Road to the Utalii Drift. So if you're on Thika Road, expect today to spend a lot more time around this area from Utalii Drift all the way past the Mathare Mental Health Hospital to the Pangani interchange and beyond. So yes, hapo leo mutakaka. And this is a bit abnormal. I don't know what's happening at that interchange. It's usually just around this area. Now it's stretching as far back as the Utalii Drift. The other trouble spot is usually Jogoo Road. Let's take a look at it. Nothing much has changed. Same story. Makadara, Mbotela area, dark red. It was the same earlier on. Building up slowly towards City Stadium roundabout, but after that, it's smooth all the way into town. Even Haile Selassie Avenue, I said earlier, it's looking much better today. Not the usual traffic. Traffic, yes, definitely building up along Mombasa Road, but if you're using the expressway, you're lucky. Kule chini, I can see glimpses of red here and there next to General Motors, meaning that Mombasa Road ile ya chini, kuna traffic, but kama uko kwa expressway uko sawa sawa. Ukiangalia pale next to Capital Center, yes, both the exits and entrances into the expressway are a bit busy this morning as you move closer to town. Once you get past the Nyayo Stadium area, it's smooth into town. Langata Road is looking good at this time of day. A bit of traffic on Mbagathi Way, both sides, just before you get to, what do you call them, the Nyayo high-rise estates. But further up, it's looking good even around the city's mortuary roundabout. Ngong Road building up at Prestige Plaza and Adams Arcade, but further at Junction Mall also a bit of traffic, but nothing much to report from that direction. Finally, Waiyaki Way, and it's building up slowly, especially around areas of Nairobi School because of that, the series of bumps there. But after that, it's smooth all the way into town, so don't expect a lot of traffic from that direction either. So that's the traffic situation in the city this morning. I can see we've already crossed the half-hour bit. It's time for State of the Nation. Do stand by for that. And later on, the discussion around mental health. So yes, today, Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo will be in the House alongside members of the National Assembly, Beatrice Salachi of Dagoretti North and Robert Basil Ngui of Yatta constituency. That after the break. You can be part of this conversation online through social media pages on X at TV47 News and on Facebook, TV47 Kenya. You can tag me as well on my X handle at Fred Indimuli. You're watching Morning Cafe.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 Finance Bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwa watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
All right, good morning. Karibu sana. This is a morning cafe. A lot of discussions even before the show starts, and the debate is already hot inside the studio. The main issue that everyone is discussing is the impeachment of the deputy president, and it will form part of our biggest discussion today. But let's be fair to Kenyans, and there is another bigger story. Even the cartoons make reference to this, and if my director can help me with that cartoon on the Standard, it has used the metaphor of an axe that members of parliament are wielding. This is a cartoon on the Daily Nation. Yes, Parliament is holding an axe and it's using it to cut off the stilts that hold the seat of the Deputy President who's holding the mountain. This one, is, on the other hand, is a cartoon on the Standard. And it talks about the priorities that the MPs should be focusing on. And that's the big snake there that has in its grip the local common mwananchi. And those are the Kenya Kwanza scandals. But instead, the MPs are holding the axe. They could be attending to that, but they have other pressing issues to attend to. And that is including the impeachment of the Deputy President. So the MPs, instead of helping, are walking away with the axe as they wield it. So we will not do the same this morning before we come and talk about the impeachment. If you look at all the top pages, all the front pages of the dailies, away from the impeachment motion, it's a story of the new Chief and Social Health Authority. It is a big discussion. It is what many people would be hoping should be on the main headlines this morning, that we would be talking about this rollout, the challenges, the pain that many Kenyans are going through this morning. Many dialysis patients yesterday had to go without treatment. On the front page of People Daily, they say pain, confusion, rock rollout of SHA. On the Standard, register all else, patients' pain as shift is rolled out. On the Daily Nation, patients stranded in chaotic shift rollout. Natafuta kwingineko nafikiri kwa Star. SHA's rocky start as hundreds of patients miss life-saving dialysis. Maybe some of them may have died. But today, the National Assembly is attending to other matters. Wakili, do you feel like we're being distracted by this impeachment motion, of which for the next 2 weeks will be nothing else but that? The life and death situations that Kenyans are facing. Our National Assembly, in fact, will be blocking hours on end to attend to this impeachment motion.
Yeah, and it's really a big distraction. And I'm also wondering the actual import and the meaning of this impeachment fiasco going on. It could be actually more than still meets the eye, because it looks like both enemy and friend have ganged up to remove the Deputy President. So it might not be just an impeachment because he is whatever they say. It could be something bigger. I mean, I think these guys have agreed to, I mean, we have members of parliament now. I don't know their opinion, but in a very objective way, from my side, since I'm not in parliament, I think there must have been a deal to change leadership through the window, through the back door, instead of the elections.
And we'll get there. And I jumped the gun. I failed to introduce my panel, but I introduced you, Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo, advocate of the High Court. Karibu sana, and thank you for starting the show for us. Also with us this morning is Basil Robert Ngui, MP Yata constituency, a member of the Wiper Party, who also appended his signature in support of that motion. You're among the 291 members. Next to Bwana Basil Ngui, we have Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, a member of the ODM party, also appended her signature in support. If you look at the dailies, the list is there, and I listened to the member who was presenting the motion yesterday, and he read out the names. And the two members with us supported that motion. Bwana Basil, do you agree that we could be distracted and that it is unfair to Kenyans when Parliament, especially the National Assembly, is distracted to this extent when they could be attending to other bigger matters like the rollout of the SHA and the shift?
First, good morning, and thanks for having us here this morning. I think as much as we say it is actually distracting the main agenda for the country, we also have to admit that there's no progression in this country if the top leadership, I'm talking of the presidency, the deputy president, if they are not working together. We have seen a serious challenges. You know, we are put back to the campaign mode, which is not what many of the citizens want to see. Remember, after we were elected to office, we only have two years and 2 months. But you can imagine at this point in time, Kenyans want to be served. But what are we witnessing? Campaigns, people traversing their regions, you know, trying to appease citizens and bring this campaign rhetoric back to reality. I think this is not what many Kenyans I expect at this point in time. If you look at our neighbor, Tanzania, they're about to go for elections, but they are quiet. They're still working.
We do have dailies from Tanzania. If we could have a front page of Mwananchi and the front page of the Citizen.
Yes.
In Tanzania, they talk about very different issues. The election is actually next year in 2020.
Correct.
They have civic elections in November.
Yes.
Which is in a month's time. The front pages are talking about Marburg, Mpox, Chinese trade, crime, gesi kwenye magari, nothing on politics on the front page.
Yeah, so when I say the reason why you see now, I think the president is trying now to calm the situation, and that could be the reason. I'm not his spokesperson, neither am I a member of UDA. I'm a member of Wiper Party. But the truth has to be told and has to be spoken. So the truth is, with what is happening, where the president and the deputy are at loggerheads, this is affecting delivery, both at national level all the way to the county level. And I think that's a simple reason that this particular motion is taking a center stage. Of course, there are many issues. We'll be talking of the scandals that are inflicting or that are implicated this particular government, where Adani is taking most of the deals in the country and so many other issues. But before we clean that, I think it is a time for the government to also get itself to order, so that at least we can serve our citizens.
But will we get there, Madam Elachi? Because the question is, right now, 50% of the students who have been admitted to universities have not been able to join university because of the new university funding model, which is causing serious problems. The rollout of SHIF and SHA is 2 days old. Already people are dying because of that. Adani deal at the airport that Basil mentioned is there on the front page. They took the opportunity yesterday to talk about the plan they have, and I think it's on the front page of the People Daily, where they have an image, a designer's image of what JKIA will look like, that butterfly up there. And we're not even talking about that. We're not even following, but it would appear the deal is still continuing. We've been at this kind of situation for the longest time, since as far back as 2018, where the president and his deputy are not working together. When Basil says that we need to fix that before we can do anything else. But we've been at this for now 6 years. Problems between the president and the deputy, whichever president, whichever deputy. Now with this impeachment, it means that probably even in the next coming 3 years, we'll still be politicking about who next to be deputy president. So, especially for the National Assembly, don't you get the feeling that you're totally distracted?
Well, first, let's go back to history of this new constitution. And I think when the former president and the president came into power, they had an opportunity, fix Kenya, break Kenya. And so where we are, I think we are breaking Kenya. We never fixed. In fact, we became now more worse than what we have been. We thought it will assist in removal of tribalism and all that, but no, it has entrenched it more. And so we must ask ourselves, and not just about impeachments or whatever, we must look at this journey we have walked. And I would say that the most unfortunate thing, and I am sorry to say also all of us are part of the problem, is because all of us speak to what we are speaking. I have not seen anyone coming out of all our madness and giving us an alternative and telling Kenyans, look, we are so much entrenched in politics, all of us. The lawyers will love politics because they will be going to court, they will be going to county's court, they will be making, you will hear them come and say, we have budgets that sijui what, yet they are part of preparing the budget so that they can get money to be given as lawyers on cases you don't understand. The judiciary helps us also to propel the madness because they will come, order one, order two, instead of looking at the public interest of Kenya. What are these people trying to because people are thriving in this confusion so that they do the things they do. By the time you wake up, that's why we got a Eurobond of 16% on a dollar, while Egypt at that time got a 3%. And then we picked it instead of now thinking, okay, fine. We have been taken in. I remember it's only me and Below Carroll and a few senators. We were really harsh to the National Assembly. Nobody bothered. It went. Now here we are crying. We have a Eurobond that is strangling us. The president is struggling to see how do we clear it so that even you can see some economy growing in Kenya. Until you clear that Eurobond is when you'll see some money. There's when you'll see some development. Then now we come into some politics up to 2017. From there now, the judiciary first takes us to what? Oh, you have cancelled the whole election. We go, we start. Did we solve? No. So who is the problem? Us. We are a big problem. As you look at that Tanzania, I was there the other day for a wedding, and they told me, kwa Kiswahili, jamani Mheshimiwa Elachi, nyinyi kazi yenu naona mumeamua maisha yenu itakuwa mtandao wa Kenya. Sisi tuwaangalia tuwashangaa, lakini mwafanya vizuri, maana sasa tunaona kampuni nyingi za Tanzania jamani, tuanza kufikia nyinyi. So us, what the devil has decided to do to the country is you create politics where you just choke into politics and things are just going into hell, and our people suffering. Now let us come to the National Assembly, to what we did, pending signatures. At a time we get to 291, I think there were less numbers. In politics, every backyard is looking at its interest. Now you come in and everyone who stands on a podium, Baba has become the topic again. Oh, Baba should, in fact, others said, tell me around here, who has never prayed for Baba to die? And I'm like, why did you just say that? You will get 300 numbers. That's all. And that's a more sad thing, that in this process, if you ask me, it is a process where the same problem we had with Uhuru and my president has arrived again. It never went. Why? Because money, greed, period. And then you become antagonize each other because this tender I did not get, this tender I didn't. Then now when you bring it to the public, you don't want to tell the public that you are fighting for your deals. Now you want to tell us that they are this. Now for us, let me finish. For me, my prayer in future, not in this one to 2027, my advice to the president.
We can't get out of it.
No, my advice will be, if it happens, because you see, people are thinking, oh, National Assembly is going to be, no. National Assembly approves. Then it goes, the Senate is the one who will take over the trial. What they will do, fine. But my prayer is, in future, I want to tell Kenyans, we cannot have a Kikuyu and a Kalenjin sitting in the apex office of this country together. We must have at least one of one tribe and the other of another, of a very different tribe.
We will come to that.
Peace.
We'll come to that conversation.
For peace.
My concern.
I've said we don't need a tribal.
My concern, Wakili.
We don't need a tribal. We need different tribes.
Are we able to get out of this rut of politics, non-ending politics?
Yeah.
Because now where we're heading is, okay, fine, who becomes next deputy president? And for the next 3 years, it would appear that our National Assembly will be consumed. You can already see, will be totally consumed by their own internal politics. Nothing about the Kenyans.
Yeah, more particularly internal tribal politics. I think the answer is in what Honorable Elachi has said. By the way, if we want to remove this menace, we must go down to the roots. What is the problem? Guys are trading with the government. That is the primary reason. If you say, and I have been asking this in all my appearances, like, by the way, what happened? And I asked here, and you remember we remarked that we are already past that, but we are past what we have not really highlighted. The issue, you can never differ with someone unless there is that core reason why you are differing. So between the head of state and his deputy, it should have come clear that the problem, if you just gross misconduct, you start to say that probably he went and he disrespected the president in Kiambu or Sama. Those are just colorful statements. The real reason should be either there is tribal animosity inbuilt or there is business rivalry. If we knew that, then it would have been easier. But anyway, you asked Fred whether this would occupy members of parliament going forward. I think, with tremendous respect to them, they, even today, do not have a concrete agenda that they want to address. They are always being distracted. A little small thing will actually distract them. So if they had an agenda, they would at least stick to it. They would request the president, you need to allow us to chart our way forward. This is the agenda we have. The 4-point agenda has been forgotten now. Nobody talks about, I mean, Schiff came in, Shah, whatever the name, came in, but it seems to be, it has been swallowed into what the impeachment program now. So the major problem, I think, is the members of parliament do not have a concrete agenda. And that is why, if you listen to them talk, and they are here, I'm not going to accuse them, you can listen to them. How are they signing? Why are these 291 members of parliament signing this, to impeach the president? I mean, is it their own volition? Are they choosing to do this? Or is there pressure from friends?
I can already see Madam Elachi wants to respond to that, but not now. I'll come back to that. For now, I'm more concerned about the fact that the National Assembly is totally missing the point. Yesterday, I saw record numbers in the National Assembly. Even members who have declared that they don't go to the House were present, very ready to just listen to the motion being tabled. There was no voting happening yesterday. But the interest inside Parliament was a lot. Yet outside, you do realize that the younger generation were actually in town, in the CBD, protesting about other things that they feel are of interest to them. The National Assembly is totally misaligned with what the Kenyans feel. Don't you agree with that, Bwana Basil?
We are not misaligned. And Elachi can actually confirm. Because, as I said, you cannot progress if the top leadership are not working together. It's simple. We have to clean that. If we don't, then there is no discussion. Yes.
So Parliament, the National Assembly, has been caught in a corner that you cannot proceed until the politics is fixed. And when will it be fixed? We do have no idea.
You know, as I said, since we all don't know what happened, remember Ruto and Rigathi were working very well. But perhaps due to their speculation, could be deals or something, now they are no longer talking together. You know, if you look at this country, the forefathers, the founders of this nation, fought for three main things. One was illiteracy, number two was disease, number three was poverty. But up to date, we have not been able to tackle this. And one of the key reasons why we have not been able to achieve that, one of it is nepotism, tribalism, or what we refer as negative ethnicity. These two vices have been hailing this particular country. Because if you look at our country today, the level of development is not uniform. We have uniform unemployment, simply because those who are given position of authority or position to serve, they go there having the tribal mindset. If you look at today, you can see a graduate, someone who has left school with the purpose, and simply because this person is not connected or is not aligned to the tribe of the person who is recruiting, most of them find themselves in the streets. If you look at, for example, my constituency, the simple reason we don't have tarmac road, imagine from 1963, apart from the highways, I don't have any bitumen upgraded road in between. The only one we got was actually after devolution, which was about 5 kilometers. That was through, the previous government, the previous county government. And if you look at other constituencies, for example, if you go to Central Province, you'll find what you refer as Kiambu County, for example. Most of the roads are tarmac. And then you ask yourself, are my people not paying taxes just like the people in Kiambu County? And all these, I'm trying to explain to you why we are coming to this. all this, or the simple reason we are at this particular point is because of tribalism. If you're asking me, why did I append my signature in the impeachment?
We'll come to that. You'll tell us.
Many people think we are dividing the party. I'm not. I'm one of the loyalists in the Wiper Party, but I hate tribalism. If you want to be my friend, be a nationalist.
Okay.
But if you are practically exercising tribalism, then I dissociate myself with it.
Hold that thought there, Bonabas.
Although to finalize, to end my statement, if you look at both number 1, number 2, all of them, they have some level of tribalism, or they are tribalist.
Okay.
The only difference is one is quiet, the other one exercises through
shouting about it. Okay. The cartoons today are talking about the National Assembly wielding the axe, but what are they using the axe for? Is it to help the Mwananchi? Or are they totally distracted by this impeachment motion of the Deputy President? Now, all the conversation we've had so far, I've been trying very hard to talk about the concerns of the Mwananchi, but all my panelists keep drawing me back to the impeachment. So we'll be back to talk about the impeachment after the break. You're watching Morning Cafe.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 Finance Bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome.
We're back. This is the Morning Cafe, and I'm telling you, the debate doesn't stop. Even during the break, this one is a highly emotive discussion, highly heated. And I'm still in studio with Beatrice Alachi, MP Dagoretti North, Basil Robert Ngui, MP Yatta constituency, and Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo for this conversation. Let's now focus on what everyone is talking about, because I think we cannot avoid it. And any attempt to try and talk about anything else has come to naught. So, Madam Elachi, you are among the 291 members of the National Assembly who appended their signatures in support of this motion. You only needed 117. Were you trying to make a statement from the word go? Because yours, I think, came way after the 117. So you are among those who signed even after the numbers were sufficient. What exactly is your push in this?
No, for me, you see, for me, it is sad because I have no issue amongst the presidency, which means the deputy and the president. A personal issue? None. In fact, it has been my prayer. And that's what I thought. That look, we went through a bad turbulence. And you remember for us who were at that time in Jubilee, that turbulence left us. I mean, if you ask us today, what bitterness did you have at that time with the deputy president? You didn't know. What bitterness do you have with the president at that time? Nobody knew. But I remember just saying, the president is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I will respect that until he finalizes his term, because he's the president. But then, the way we were divided, when we entered into this 13th parliament, I will tell you, Fred, you could hear how people were talking and you're like, we are in trouble, big trouble. A lot of anger. That anger started from the inauguration. It never healed the country. Some of us felt sad because we said, we knew whoever wins will take over the country and lead everyone. And therefore, the then president was to hand over as per the Constitution. But then we asked ourselves, what have we just done on an inauguration day? I don't know whether they also felt, but for us who were students during Moi's time and Kibaki when he was coming in, and the way we managed the late Mzee Moi, we learned a lot of lessons because it came to haunt us. It haunted us until we came to 2007, where now blood was split. It was how we managed. And I thought everyone would have learned a lesson that it is always important to understand when you are handing over power, regardless of how you have felt at each other, that day pray to your God to have peace and let people feel calmness. Let people feel. But you left people on a high mode. Here we are still on a high mode, let me tell you, Fred. And so when you look at all that has happened, nothing has changed. So whatever you tried to package at that time, thinking you'll heal the country, God has said it was not right, because each of them has refused completely to just come out and say the right thing. And that is why God now keeps on tormenting you. Here you are saying they are demons. They are not demons. I will tell you, in God's eyes, when God is angry with us, that's how he will come, make our own children become angry with us. Then we shall continue being angry with ourselves. But then we must do something to now break this ceiling. And for me, the only thing I will say to my deputy president, who I respect, absolutely respect, that even in trials like this, there is what we call, in God's eyes, a settlement where Kenyans can feel safe. Because the Constitution says, if anything, even today, even as we impeach or not impeach, God forbid,
You talk about anger.
Yes.
And with this anger, you say that we should get to a point where we calm down as a nation.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
The action in Parliament has the potential of locking out one section of, or at least desalienating a region in this country.
Well, when you desalinate...
isn't that fueling the anger further?
Exactly, exactly. Now, let me come to that. So, and all I was just saying is that when you get into a trial like this, because sometimes God wants to test you also, maybe to cook you to be better, isn't it? But how you portray yourself will give calmness to the people, or they will get very worried or fear. Now, I know my deputy president is angry, with anger, with all that. When you come and you say, all the words he's saying, I won't say them here. Now, other people feel, but this will be like our president. If anything happens, he's our president. Is this how it's going to rule us? You know, you create more fear than people enduring. They run away from enduring. Now, you are saying we are about to put one region, my mother's region, into trouble. But then, I believe in the wisdom of the president, and I want to tell him, it is for that region. And ensure, whatever happens, it has to remain in that region. You cannot give it to any other region. No. It will be absolutely very wrong and very unfair. So for me, do the things you want to do. We shall do our part. But then, for peace to be there, for calmness to be there, the same way you are saying this other region should never be there. In fact, we are praying for their leader to even die. And they removing that other region?
Those are very extreme sentiments.
No, but they were, that is why...
In a situation where we're trying to calm...
No. I even wrote on the page of Parliament, what did I say? When you speak some words that are not making sense, you rattle each other's backyard. So when you say that in the eyes of Baba's people, you expect them now to sit and just say, oh, so as we were supposed not to be even near, as we are not supposed even to be this.
Wakili, listening to these members of the National Assembly, the argument is within themselves.
Yes. No, it's not within...
It's not the general masses.
No.
Even the disagreement is about...
It is right now, it is in the general masses of the Western region, because you cannot have your own battle and then you want to use an excuse to throw it back to this other region. It is very unfair.
Wakili,
very unfair.
Are you concerned the kind of sentiments we are hearing and the anger that we're even seeing among members of Parliament, even the excitement?
You know, when you talk about Western leadership...
There's no excitement.
Western leadership...
291 when the need was about 117. That's purely
already the Honourable Speaker actually blundered by commenting about this impeachment before it came to the floor of the House, and then it was obvious he wants it to go that way, and he's the umpire, so there's quite a bit. But Fred, we will be treated more suckers, looking at the fact that, you know, this is not the end. In fact, impeachment of Gachagua is just, it's a smoke screen. There are so many things that will happen before 2027, and I think this impeachment comes just like a distraction. The real issue here is people want to hold on to power firmly. You see, we don't have an IBC in place today, and we are talking about impeaching the deputy president. What does that call for? What happens in the unlikely event that certain things should occur? What happens? Where are we? So I think that somebody is not thinking in that perspective. And that is sort of exposing the nation in terms of how insecure we may be in event certain things do happen. So this impeachment is one, definitely, but the plan to cling on to power by all means is being hatched to ensure that those who were foes before can now be friends, at least to cling on to power. That is, for me, that's my major concern. And members of Parliament, you know, they are also human beings. I mean, now they are already counting 3 years to come for those who want to go back. They have to prepare for finances to go back to campaigns. They want to be in power as well, because, I mean, there is no reason why you don't want to be in power, if especially you have tested it. So the problem here is bigger than the impeachment of the deputy president. And like Honorable Archie is saying, when are we going to get out of these woods? When are we going to come out of this forest? Because it was there in Kibaki time, it was there in Moi time, it was there in Uhuru's time, and no one learns. But my question, especially the former president said very clearly, without mincing words, by the way, he said, this is the direction you should go. If you are going this direction, I mean, there will be a lot of crying. I don't see why we should cry. I think we should actually eat our ambo pie. We should be able to simply survive the pain until 2027.
Survive the pain.
But are we no, it's true. I mean, who is not in pain? Why am I saying in pain? Because we never voted. We want lower taxes, Fred. By the way, for the rest of us, let me tell you, for the rest of the citizens, apart from those who are fighting to be in leadership, if they have less taxes, if they have no abductions and citizens are moving smoothly in the country, they will not even care about impeachment or whatever. But now, everything, security, business, taxes
Education.
are pegged to the operations of the presidency, and this is really hurting the country.
Yes. The Wiper Party issued a statement yesterday.
Yes.
But it also did not escape our attention that the moment your name was mentioned and the indication that you're a Wiper Party member, as one of those who had appended their signature, there was a lot of shout and celebration inside the house. So what is your stand? Being a member of the Wiper Party, I know ODM has a different party position, but Wiper Party issued a position after.
Well, first, I was not, I don't think I had gone to Parliament the time when that celebration you're talking about occurred. I was just in a committee of Parliament. What I would say, you know, I appended my signature before a resolution was taken by the party. A resolution took place Friday last week. The motion had already been drafted before then. And that is a time when we appended our signatures. As I said categorically, if you are a tribalist, then you are not my friend. But of course, as a loyalist of the party, if you look at number 1 and number 2, who is better? They are all tribalist. Number 2 is only that he exercises it through talking. Number 1, he does it through action. So in reality, both of them, if I was to make a clear decision, should all go. But simply because number 2 is being taken as a sacrificial lamb, myself as a member of Wiper Party, I distance myself from the UDA wrangles. Because what is happening, these are political issues within UDA party, which I'm not a member of UDA party. And as I said, my signature got there on simple reason. One, I'm someone who don't agree to tribalism. Because tribalism is what has held our country to where it is today. The simple reason why we have some areas, for example in Yatta, where electricity connectivity is below 30%, and other areas electricity connectivity is over 80%, is because of tribal mindset being applied in service delivery.
Okay.
The other simple reason why you find so many youth in the streets with all the basic requirements for them to be absorbed in the economy, but they are not doing, or they are not meaningfully being engaged. They are not working as they're supposed to be doing in other progressive economies, is because of tribalism. If you look at other areas, like in my constituency, more than 40% of teachers who are teaching in my schools are BOM teachers. They are paid by parents, when in the actual sense, they're supposed to be paid by government because we all pay taxes. But that is happening simply because of tribalism. So I have all the reasons why I decided to append my signature to the motion. But as I said, afterwards, there was a resolution within the party. Because they say, why should we sacrifice one person, the deputy, and leave the other person?
So the stand has changed. And now that you mentioned one of the grounds of impeachment, let's take a look at this story filed by TV47 on the grounds of impeachment of the deputy president.
The formal filing of an impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in Parliament on Tuesday marked the beginning of the impeachment process, meant to remove the second in command from office.
I'm laying on the table of the House the following documents. Number 1, the special motion dated 26th of September 2024 and received by the clerk on the 27th of September 2024, and I have it in my hands and I'll be laying it shortly.
Kibwezi West Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutusa, in his 10 violation points against Gachagua, cited breaches of the Constitution, corruption and incitement. Following allegations of making provocative remarks, the legislature charged Gachagua with making statements that incite ethnic division amongst Kenyans. In his second charge, the MP accused Gachagua for undermining the president and the cabinet by making statements that are not in line with the government's policies. The MP is also accusing Gachagua for interfering with leadership of Nairobi City County government by allegedly agitating locals against the proposed relocation of Wakulima traders to Kangundo Market. Attacks against Lady Justice Esther Minor of the High Court was also mentioned in the document to impeach Gachagua. The fifth accusation is on the breach of the oath he swore, which mandates him to uphold, conserve, safeguard, and defend the Constitution.
I will demonstrate that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has violated Article 161 of the Constitution of Kenya.
In his sixth charge against Gachagua, MP Mutusa provides that the former Madeira MP violated the National Cohesion and Integration Act that provide anyone who stirs up ethnic hostility commits an offense. Other charges include amassing properties worth 5.2 billion shillings illegally, misleading the public, gross misconduct and bullying.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua did declare that he was worth 800 million. We are aware that he's paid slightly over 1 billion, meaning that for the last 2 years, the match he could have accumulated justly is about 24 million. But I would demonstrate before Kenyans that he has properties to himself, the ones that I was able to get in my time of research, worth 5.2 billion Kenya shillings.
To pass this motion, shall we require 2/3 of 345 members or 349 members? In my view, vacant seats should not be counted.
You can't ask a question and answer it.
Rather than the requisite 117 signatures to reach the constitutional barrier, Mutusa provided the names of 291 MPs who supported the motion. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Takusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako.
Yes, those are some of the impeachment grounds on this motion, about 11 of them. But looking at them, Madam Elachi, and we're not going into the merits or demerits of either, it's just looking at this, you'd actually say, and I agree with Basil, that many in top leadership in this country could be accused of the same things.
Yeah.
And there are options of, like the one that Senator Daniel Maanzo has taken against the president, a censure motion. Honorable Danson Mugatana, Senator Tana River, also filed a motion of censure against the deputy president. Some of these things, yes, parliamentarians may be keen to pronounce themselves and tell someone off, or rather condemn and rebuke. Impeachment, don't you think, is a bit too far? That probably we're just trying to sort out a political problem through a legal means.
Well, I'll say that you remember Donald Trump went into 2 impeachments in 2019 and 2021 in the US. And you prepare your team, you listen to the charges, because you have nothing to lose. It's a process, the same way governors go through, the same way. It's only that this is a very well-elaborated process in the Constitution. And so you have to follow those timelines. So for me, I think, as I said, the National Assembly is given an opportunity to approve the articles that they feel these are the charges. The Senate is to convict or to ensure they don't convict, or to give in, because whatever happens, if they do a vote, it goes through, then you are also barred for 10 years in public office. So all that, and that's why the lawyers, the deputy president said he has the lawyers. So I am hoping the lawyers will be able to just and they have quite a good time frame of dealing with each charge. It depends on how Mheshimiwa has also prepared the charges. And so Kenyans will be watching. It is also in public opinion, and there will be the public will also be talking about it. So since I cannot debate on anything or say anything on it, I think let's proceed and just see how it goes. But also maybe we might be saying, oh, have we done? Kenyans, we love so much. You see, right now, I remember when we were doing the elections, everyone was very key on the president. And they felt, oh, the president has gone through a process. He has even, for the first time, broken all the ceilings that you don't need to be supported by government to be a president. And so, as Wakili is saying, then you turn out today, you are crying about him. Then we get shocked. We wonder even what to tell you. Because you told us this was the best. So why can't we eat that pie? And in this pie, if they bring all these things, we shall be eating the pie. This is part of eating the pie.
Paying for the next 3 years.
Yeah, because it's not us. You said it was good. You are the ones who even confirmed to us. You told us we are bad people because we are not supporting. For now, after he was sworn in, by the way, I said, I will respect the president, the presidency, the way I respected the presidency of Uhuru. It's the same way, because he has taken the Bible, he has sworn in. In fact, at one point, I was really beaten so hard by ODM. I was even denied committees because I've come to us objectively the way we are discussing, and they felt, oh, you don't feel, it's like you are too much. But I was just objective because I said, Kenya is our country. And that is one thing we must start. Okay. And let me say where we have to, as we do all this, let's go back down the lane and ask Kenyans. You see, a Kenyan will come and tell you, there is corruption. We are corrupt. Politicians are corrupt. But the people who are doing tenders, 90% are not politicians. Then the lawyers will not remember what they are also doing. Then the judiciary will not remember. And yet we are all together, just sinking Kenya to where we are sinking, and we don't care. We are just taking it to the drain. And at that time, even the ones, you imagine, even my own students, I'll tell you, when you are doing a class, I have a student, a class in the US. Time is time. Students in Kenya, you are supposed to be in class at 5. Trust me, Fred, we enter class at around 6:37. 8, we are all disorganized. We want to leave because time has arrived. Then one time in class, I asked, so as we are doing like this, I hope the guys doing this serious, because we are told what we are doing is not serious, environmental or whatever. But then, those who are doing engineering and medicine, if you are behaving like this and just one topic passes you like this, and you're about to be a dentist, do every Kenyan question that? No, they don't. But they don't know it is wrong. Okay. That when you're supposed to be in class 5, there was a purpose to finish 8. And so everyone in Kenya, I'm finalizing by saying this. Now go to our offices. Every Kenyan wants to work until 5 and go home. No Kenyan wants to put in fact, nowadays, we would wish to have mandamanos every day, but in the end of the month, you have no fear or favor to collect a salary. Okay. But you were just at home, and you don't feel it is something that is wrong. Let me tell you. Is something else. Let me tell you, Fred. We don't want to get in Kenya wants to move to the next level, this attitude we are carrying, this culture we are carrying of don't care and attitude, if we don't stop it from our primary nursery school, we are in trouble.
Wakili, well, there's a lot of excitement, even as you answer and you contribute. There's a lot of excitement about testing this constitution. This is the very first time we are testing the presidency through an impeachment motion. Yeah. From a legal perspective, that could have its own effects, its own consequences. If successful, it means that even impeaching the president is within sight. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I wanted to pick from where Honorable Archie left, that we are sinking ourselves, sinking the country, and then coming to, in fact, it's just more or less the same what you're asking. We are casualizing a very important organ of our country called presidency.
Oh, yeah.
By bringing such things like demeaned the president, bullying, and the other one I saw here, you know, utterances, okay, maybe that one has some point, undermined the president, you know, just because of how the deputy president speaks. That's my concern, that we are casualizing that big office. We are trying to portray it that the president has some ego that does not need to be bruised, and therefore is so special. A human being is special, definitely, but he's so special, such that no one should even look that side and criticize him. You see, the elements of free speech in our modern society today, Fred, allow you to express yourself in the way you feel. That is actually part of human integrity. You are allowed to air your opinion in whichever manner, even when it is so annoying to the other one. That's okay. I mean, if he calls himself a truthful man here and speaks in whichever way he speaks, you don't like it. Again, that is part of his free speech. But when you go down to say he demeaned, I mean, when you're at home, Fred, I mean, anybody can tell you anything they want to tell you. If you are a sober mind, you will simply listen to what they have said, and that will help you improve yourself. But in terms of impeachment, what it portends for under Manzo's motion also to censure the president, you are actually casualizing, and this act of impeaching the deputy president, in my view, looks like you are actually demeaning the status of the constitution of our country, and you are trying to give room to people through free speech to interfere with the presidency. You will see quite a lot of motions coming in, and then, you know, this was signatures yesterday. The actual voting will come. Sorry, Fred. And before voting, on Friday, people are going to public participation. This is where the embarrassment might come in. People in Madeira and also from Webuye and north and the southern part of Kenya are going to give their views. And if these views are captured correctly, the way we have been seeing media, they might embarrass these 291 MPs, including my great friends here. Why? People might say, no, we don't want you to focus on what, I mean, how does it help us? How will it put food on my table? So we have no interest to support this, you know, thing called impeachment of Gachagua. And this might be his lifeline.
Okay.
Because don't forget that then the courts can come in if it is confirmed that public participation rejected the impeachment. And this is how now he may also have his lifeline. And what will that mean to the presidency? He will be more powerful, quote unquote. He will be wielding his power the way he has said. So I think the drafters, the movers of this motion were not very careful and did not respect our constitution the way it is. You cannot be annoyed that somebody called you stupid, or somebody told you this or that, or somebody said you are a tribal, and probably somebody said you are mistreating my family. No, those are just statements in free speech. They should not be reduced into items in a notice of motion to impeach a deputy president of the country.
And I know the members of the National Assembly may be reluctant to go into the merits or demerits of the matter, but what Abasili on record on this panel here talking about how the numbers in Parliament will play out going forward. And I asked you directly, do you think these numbers from ODM especially will be used to impeach the president, the deputy president? You told me confidently that you know they may not go that way 100%. They appear to have done so 100%,
Yeah.
or at least 90%.
Yeah.
That's a huge voting bloc to go in that direction. Going forward, this could have implications in the workings of the National Assembly. Should we expect them going forward to be voting as a bloc for every other thing? Because there's so many things that Parliament can actually do, if successful this time. Are we looking at a possible amendment to the Constitution through the parliamentary process?
Good question. I would say anything is a possibility. Because remember, of course, our drive is to be impartial and actually to go by the whims of our electorates. But unfortunately, sometimes party politics,
including
does
yourself,
interfere with decisions that have to be taken. And that is why you see my sister she very strongly said anyone touching on Baba. By Baba, she did not make reference to her dad. She made a reference to a political leader, that is Raila Amolo Odinga. This is to tell you, in the near future or going forward, we are likely to see the coalition of ODM and the UDA making a very significant impact in terms of decisions that members of parliament affiliated to these two parties will be making in the August House. That is a reality.
Is it a risk?
We can't throw it out. Of course, it's a risk because that can bring us to the one-party system. Because remember, when party politics takes a center stage, then it means in such a case, very pertinent issues that require sober decisions may be interrupted. Of course, as I said earlier, it is a time now. Personally, I would wish a Kenya whereby we make decisions not based on parties, but sometimes parties tend to dictate simply because you find their doctrines of the party. And these one tie, someone's opinion. But as I said, there are issues where, of course, where you say this cannot work. For example, if you look at the finance bill, most of the content of the finance bill of 2024 were against the concerns of the citizens who we represent. And that's why majority of the people voted in the interest of the electorate. Of course, the subject matter here of impeachment is totally different. Because as I said, personally, I will not associate myself with a tribalist. Because if we go by tribalism, then our country, instead of moving forward, will go backward.
And that's a concern I have. And because when Basil, on one hand, talks about his independent thought about issues to do with tribalism, and he says he's signed on principle, the motion, based on that. Yet he says that now, because of the party position, his position on this matter
Can I clarify on the resolution? When we sat down as a party, we put the two critical figures, the protagonists, I would call them, the president and the deputy. And we said between the two, who is clean than the other? And most of the people unanimously say they are all the same. The only difference between the two is one exercises through the mouth, verbally, while the other one exercises tribalism through action. And then we said, in this case, should we all support the number two being impeached? Because that's been taken as a sacrificial lamb. What we refer as being a scapegoat of the whole matter. Then we say in such a case, then I don't think we need to get entangled in such kind of a fight. Okay. And that's where the decision to dissociate ourselves with the impeachment came to play. And then we said as a party, we don't think it's the interest. Because what is being done is not because this is worse than the other. They are all the same.
Okay, well put.
And that explains why, going forward, you'll see so many changes when it comes to the voting.
But Madam Elachi, are you concerned that ODM's action in ensuring that its entire voting bloc is now in support of the UDA and Kenya Kwanza, which have been, and this has been proven, has been constantly working under the whims of the executive, that in itself weakens the National Assembly even further? That now this ODM voting bloc cannot be counted on to oversight the executive?
Why won't you count us on? Just because we signed, you think now you can't count us on? No, you will count us on, because each of us have our way of how we do things. I have said, and I want to repeat.
But the party position...
forget about even party position. You imagine you are in a party where your own party leader, regardless whether he has said or not said, is being bashed. All of them, even if it was Wiper, they would have done the same if you would have touched Kalonzo. I will tell you, and I will repeat, many members had already said, this is none of our business. Until the time you go first meeting, it turns around, you are just discussing one party leader. Second meeting, party leader. On media, party leader. And I told them, you don't rattle the backyard like that.
Was there a party position on this issue?
No.
I had a member of parliament here.
We woke up,
and he said the party position was that ODM is in support of the impeachment.
Well, that was their party position. I am telling you.
You are a member of ODM?
Yes, I'm a member of ODM. The party position came in after the rattling. There was no party position until that time. And I'm telling you, everyone, wherever they were, each of them was calling, minority leader, where are you? This cannot be the issue, but they have decided to make it an issue. We will now show them it was none of our issue. And to show them is when now you join into the wagon of showing you should never again. Even if you do it and it was the president on impeachment, we would have done the same. Because why would you bring in His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, who has already said, I have left, I am gone. You want to tell me you have no any other politics in your region that you can speak until you speak about him is when it becomes vicious?
I
think yes, the same way they were saying, Musiguse Mrima, usiguse maji ya Nyanza.
I think the way Deputy President punished ODM, I think they have their own beef with Rigathi Gachagua.
By the way, we don't.
By the way, but in this particular time,
we don't.
I don't think ODM as a party was actually really looking for Gachagua. This is evident. This is evident. The way
we were not.
What we don't know, Fred,
we don't. We were not.
Parliament are not coming out that yes, it is their issue. Kenya Kwanza has an issue. President and deputy have an issue. So why all this clamor for let's join hands and just kick him out? Apart from this, because they had not even seen these notes of motion by Mwengi, they had not seen. So why were they all in agreement that let's do away with Gachagua when they know we don't have an IBC? If we had to go for elections in event of other issues, we would be in shambles. So why is everyone in Parliament interested in removing Rigathi Gachagua? There is a deal that they are not telling us that they have crafted behind the scenes, so that because I mean, okay, who is coming in as deputy president?
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, is ODM going to propose Badi or somebody at least his name be given to the president for nomination?
I've hosted members of ODM here. One of them yesterday told me the promise to ODM is that the deputy president's position is theirs. That is a member of ODM.
That one
is for
ODM. That is a member who is speaking like a member who doesn't understand what he's saying. Kabisa.
Are you certain? Now let's go to post-impeachment.
Yes.
Let's say impeachment is successful.
Well, the process is in the Constitution. The name is the president to decide. Bring the name into the National Assembly.
You're saying you're sure it will be, the replacement will come from the Mount Kenya?
Oh, yes, you will see. And Nyeri, let me now say it very well. It has to come back to where it came from. That is where, if the president is serious and he was not malice and was not there.
Nyeri.
Yes.
Now this is a new one.
I
doubt.
We have
Fred, before you see, for us, we bring in our leaders into a mix that is not fair. Because now, when I look at my interior CS, he's a young man with a very bright future. We cannot mix him in these murky things to come and make him now become the one you want to use as a punching bag.
Do you agree with that?
The one who will do... No,
Okay.
it will be very wrong. Even to my leader who is now a CS. It will be absolutely very wrong to kill his future for nothing.
Okay.
But if we are serious, the thing, whether it is in... But it has to go back to Central. Central.
We need to study William Ruto. I think
yes, you kill someone's future completely.
Okay, let's listen to what
we need to study William Ruto in our philosophy classes in the universities and colleges. I will tell you why. William Ruto is, and I've said this before, is Messi. Messi, Lionel Messi. When he calculates, and then the other element, he's ruthless. He's not Uhuru. So you are saying correctly that if he brings Kindiki, he would actually be sabotaging his future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is exactly what he will do.
Oh,
that is him. He is not minded that it would affect Kindiki. William is focused on where he wants to go. And before he became a president, he knew where he wants to go. Now, the funny thing is, if you stand along the way, this is what happens to you. So unless we understand him that way, we will be joining him as ODM, and then, of course, we come up and say, no, this is not a party position. But he's happy. He will go to Homa Bay tomorrow, and Nyanza will now, cheer him up, and then he will go to...
Don't you think that ODM will come and claim their pound of flesh?
The issue with Raila Odinga, and we've studied Raila Odinga for a long time, is not like Ruto. If Raila Odinga could borrow from Ruto, he could turn tables today, just in a few months, against William Ruto. But William has studied Raila, and he knows that's not Raila. And in life, you cannot give what you don't have. So in terms of William Ruto, he knows where he's going. In terms of Raila Odinga, he sees where he's going, but he looks at a bigger picture and he leaves room for things to happen the way they may happen. William Ruto does not leave things to happen the way they have to happen.
Do you agree?
He predicts them and actually goes there himself.
Would you give us a forecast on where you think the deputy president, if at all the impeachment is successful, would come from?
Now, in my honest view, I think that the president is toying around whether he can work with the Western Kenya and or the Nyanza region. He has absolutely no mindset for Mount Kenya at the moment.
No,
That's
yes, that is one thing.
I think, and Barabasi Liberal, as you comment, it was not lost on Kenyans that the choice of the MP to move this motion was not from any of the president's major backyards. It came from Ukambani.
Yes. Before I explain about the choice of the person to move the motion, I wanted to add my voice to what they have been talking, Honorable Elachi and my brother here. First, if you are a politician, politics is about numbers. The current president is one of, how do you say, professors of politics, the way we used to call Moi professor of politics. He's not as people think, he's smart. There's no way he's going to drop the entire Mount Kenya or the Kikuyu vote and they say he doesn't need them. That one is a white lie. What the president will likely do is going to replace, that is, if the motion succeeds, with a person from the Kikuyu community, not necessarily from other tribes associated with Mount Kenya. The simple reason he would want to do that is to try to calm the political tension within the mountain and to ensure that he doesn't lose the 4 million votes. That's exactly what he's going to do. And in this case, he may not go specifically for Nyeri, but the person is going to replace the deputy president, and you can quote me in the future, will be from the Kikuyu community.
Yeah.
That one you can write somewhere. So the issues of Western, Luo, Nyanza, that's out. Because if he does that, we'll have, of course, lost. And that would be our wish, of course, whereby the Hazes campus will
be... William Moi is a student.
Yes, and now when it comes to the choice, as I said, Ruto is a smart politician. And he knows the only person who can give him the run for his money and proper competition when it comes to presidency, no other than the most experienced politician we have, and who is also a clean politician. That is His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. So by virtue of that, or by understanding that dynamic, he decided to poach for a friendly spot. That's why the Chap member of parliament, who was not representing the Kamba community, he moved the motion on his behalf as a member of parliament for Kibwezi West, and also as a member of parliament for Chap, not Kamba community. So let's delink the two. Let's not say it is a Kamba. Kambas are saying.
I did not mention the community. I just said the region.
You only say that's why. Now that person was picked deliberately.
It was deliberate.
To dilute that assumption that Kambas are behind, or they want to save Rigathi. So it was a deliberate political move. And that's what I'm saying, is a smart politician.
Okay.
Because that was a choice which end to send sentiments or some statements.
Okay. ODM and Raila Odinga are known to play their politics in a very different way. And when this alliance or when the cracks started showing within the Kenya Kwanza administration, they were accused of acting like hyenas that are just watching and waiting for the hand to fall. The hand might fall this time round. ODM is even closer to the table. Don't you think that ODM, and you are a member of ODM, that ODM would be right to claim its pound of flesh from the president and say, we have supported you, we have held you strong, even when a huge chunk of your support base was a bit shaky. It is time for you to pay us back. Wouldn't they be correct in doing so? They have assisted the president.
Now, let me say this. Me now as Peter Zelachi, I have stood here many times for the country. I have never gone. Either the president, the deputy president, for the 2 years I've been there, to request. In fact, there was a time I requested for food when my people were really, I was never given. I never shouted. I kept quiet. So if they will be given, it's up to them. For me, what I believe in is, number one, it's good to have a stand. It's good to just have a stand. One of the things I've realized, Kenyans, we embrace it. We want to please this one, we want to please this one. If you become such a person, then you will never build something good for yourself or anyone. That's the biggest challenge we face in the political process in Kenya. The genuinity of ourselves is so difficult. For people to come out and just be yourself and say what you feel is right or wrong, carry the burden, let people bash you, but you have said it. It is you and God. Your conscience is what you should be questioning. That is what we don't. Right now, as you say, as Wakili says, oh, people will say in public participation, that's okay. But let me tell you, when it happens, you will be so shocked again. The same ones who are trying is the same ones who will start now saying, oh, you know, even this is what was happening. Oh, you know, even that's how Kenya we are. It's very sad, but that is our culture in us. A very sad culture, which I want to tell the deputy president. You will be so shocked. Ask yourself, where is Matiang'i? Where are they?
Okay.
They were in this power. So what am I trying to say? Kenyans, imagine they move on. They move, even they will pass you. You were with them when you were doing things. I'll tell you, let me give you an example. People are looking at this impeachment, all these things. Now, this was my impeachment when I was speaker. That I had gone to do my face, that I had used a first class. That is what they said. But very unfortunate, no African does her face because you don't sound like a Mzungu. Why are you going to do your face? Number two, because you have points. It's the same way when I have the royalty point rewards that we use. You just upgrade, or they upgrade you. The Kenya Airways will pick you, and today you're just lucky they upgrade you. That was my unfortunate.
Okay.
But how didn't I? And the standing orders were changed on one day, one afternoon. Then you are called in to go and in the same afternoon to tell yourself how you have not done these things. Then from there, I mean, you look at the process, but didn't I go to court? Did the courts ever even question? That's why I'm saying lawyers, judges, everyone has their own way of making money in Kenya. I'm sorry to say. Nobody questioned, why is it that you changed your standing order? Standing orders, you can only change and be used in the next parliament. No judge has ever questioned the county assemblies in all their impeachments they do up to today to tell them you cannot change your standing orders to please you and do things. That was one. Okay. And it was very, if it was not of Judge Maureen to get into the critical issues, and that's how she judged fairly. I will tell you. And not just that. I see even the lawyers who are running all over. Me as a speaker, if I want to give you now every data of every lawyer I have met in the County Assembly of Nairobi, you will be shocked how they do their cases. You will be so shocked.
Before your name is mentioned,
No. I'm not mentioning any names. I am just telling you. If you tell me...
We only have about 4 minutes. I want to give you about final comments.
That is why I'm saying
and as
Kenya
you give your
will
final
change.
comments in the 60 seconds, a deputy or a former deputy president who has left office after impeachment, 3 years to elections, what are the prospects of Rigathi Gachagua towards 2027? He could move with a huge chunk of that support base. That, as you give your final comment.
Yeah, but remember, Fred, if he's impeached in actual sense and goes out of the presidency, it might be difficult under the constitution for him to come back and try to run.
That will be the end of him.
Public office. Definitely, it will be difficult. It's a challenge. That's what has faced Sonko, that what has faced Waitito and other people. So it is important he wins this through public participation so that he can at least survive, you know, for his political office. But it is interesting in politics when you hear Honorable Elachi say how she was impeached, you understand? And you can see she still remembers it, but she can actually sign to get Gachagua out. So politics is really unique. I mean, politics is completely we can't understand it. You can see friends and foes now are again coming together to punish Rigathi Gachagua. So I think in leadership, you really need to have your head correct. Because if Gachagua could maintain his cool after, because he was elected, he's a deputy president. Why all this noise, government of shareholding, whatnot? He should have held himself with dignity. Now you are going that now these issues would not have come up. So there is a problem with power in Kenya that even after you are in the State House, there is something more you want, especially punishing citizens, using them to do trade and really demeaning people as they are trying to put it in the money. So in my view, we need to change the politics. And Honorable Elachi has elaborated quite a bit. I think I will learn which class she's teaching. I want to also learn because she's actually said quite a bit of things. How do we change hearts of Kenyans so that you have attained presidency? For God's sake, what else do you want? You have attained a marriage. You are happy at home. What else do you want? So these are very important things we cannot finish in this one discussion. But I think politics in the country need really to be changed towards benefiting citizens.
Okay, the way forward, Bwana Basil, final comment.
First, the way forward, we need to make very solid amendments in our constitution. Because if you look at Article 147 and Article 134, both articles do give or stipulate the roles of the deputy president. Unfortunately, they don't elaborate very specific roles. It only talks of being the principal, assistance to the president. And in case the president is incapacitated, then the deputy president. In such a case, you find many times the deputy president is under the wings of the president. It's the president to decide whether to assign the deputy roles or not. So if we could unpack that and elaborate clearly what the deputy president is supposed to do, then this could dilute and finish all these acrimonies we are seeing. Because as I said from the onset, we should not be talking of issues of impeachment. It is your wrangles within the UDA party. There are very many pertinent issues in this country. We have unfinished business on HELB, higher education learning model funding. We have unfinished business regarding the scandals we are hearing, the Adani scandals and all that. We have many other issues, including IBC commissioners and all that. Those are the issues that should be on our plate in Parliament. But unfortunately, all those have been thrown or they have been trivialized to give way to the deputy president impeachment, which has taken a center stage. The whole focus, including from the media, is on deputy president impeachment. When you ask yourself, who is better between number one, number two, they're all the same. Okay. So, unfortunately, we are where we are because of a clear constitution when it comes to roles.
Okay.
And also, it's important also to look at the characters of the person who's supposed to be a deputy president. For example, if I ask you, do you know the DP for in Uganda? We don't know.
Okay.
You know,
we only
you
have
don't
60
even know the
seconds.
deputy president for Rwanda, etc.
Let's
so
allow-
there's so much to be done.
Yes.
Correct this.
A very short parting shot, about 30 seconds only more than that.
In my parting shot, number one, we must just go back to this constitution. 14 years, audit it. We must go back to the way we used to nominate the vice president. Number two, bring back now this thing of CSS back to parliament, because right now, if it was in parliament, a person, a CS who approves 1 or 4 billion shillings on a system of health should be going home also,
Asante
not
sana.
just Gachagua.
Beatrice Salachi, MP Dagoretti North, Basil Robert Ngui, MP Atta constituency, and Okili Ishmael Nyaribo, our panelists this morning, with a big headline, of course, the focus, too much focus if you ask me, is on the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, which is before the National Assembly. A lot more coming up after the break. Asanteni sana.